And I'm really happy to announce our first speaker today. It's our very good friend Daan Kreek from Netherlands with his presentation. And why I'm especially happy with him, that he managed to come. He managed to find babysitter for his kid. And Dan, the stage is yours.
So, good morning, everybody. This is my first talk ever, so please be gentle. I'm very happy that I was asked to be a speaker here. Happy that I could make it. Happy to speak to all of you. It was only 2 days ago that I finally got the message that I could come. So I hope the presentation will be to your likings. I did not pay attention too much to finding nice images, but I'm going to talk to you right through it. And let me see if I know how to do this. Probably I can. Yeah, well, that worked. So, pitching your game, that's the topic. And I'm going to try to go through the whole process of pitching your game, which is, of course, a very important part because, as you can imagine, there's the process of getting to the point where you can pitch the game, which is a very important part, of course, to come up with a game. But that's the preparation part. And for me, the preparation part is almost as important as the pitching game. The department, because pitching is actually where you sell your game, right? So if you don't pitch your game, you're not going to find a publisher. But let me go through the steps. So for me, the steps are preparation, contact, presentation, and the follow-up. So in preparation, there is, for me, 4 main elements. So let's go through the selection. So selecting which publisher is important for your game that you invented. That's a very important step, of course, because you can imagine that it would be not so good if you have a specific, kids game and show it to a company that is mostly known for Euro games. So Board Game Geek could be your friend. Board Game Geek is like the Wikipedia of board games, right? So if you can go to Board Game Geek and you have a specific kind of a game, like for instance a dice game or a hand management game, whatever, you can go to Board Game Geek and you have there the option to sort companies based on a specific mechanic, which is very helpful because then you will see a list of companies showing up, which you can try to contact and then see if they are interested in getting your game on the table. So selection is pretty important. There's a lot of people that normally would go to whatever company they think they can show the game to, but of course it's not very time consuming for both parties. So actually the game companies are having a lot of game ideas on their table. Probably per company there's, depending on the size of the company and the importance of the company, I think there will be hundreds of games per year presented to them. Make sure that you show it to the right people. Then, of course, the prototype that you should show is the way of your first contact with these people from the publisher that you selected. The prototype is, of course, very important because that's what you are trying to sell, and the prototype should be as much as possible finished. That's true, but also not true. So depends on what kind of game you're showing. If you are showing a Euro game, then probably it's nice to have everything done as much as possible. So artwork, box design, for instance, even box size. So let's say you know what company you want to show it to. Make sure that you know what kind of box sizes they do. Sometimes they have standard box sizes, right? So make sure that you are having it fitting into that box size, and that will help. That will help for sure to have them see, hey, okay, we could fit it into that line. But a prototype can also really, on the other side, be for simple games like I normally do, not the Euro games, but I do other sorts of games, so card games, dice games, party games, and I mostly have games where you can put different artwork on. So for me, the artwork is not very important. So it can be a Disney license, it can be another license. And then sometimes it's even not helpful to already go to a publisher with a prototype which has a specific artwork style, because then sometimes they cannot see through what it could also be. So make sure that you try to have it ready enough for the publisher to see where they can take it. And so if it's a Euro game, that will be a very long process for them to still make it. Even if you tested it completely hundreds of times, then still it will be a long process for them to manufacture, to get to the manufacturing part. And there you should try to help them as much as possible. But if it's some sort of more easy game, then sometimes you should have an opening for them to put their own sauce over it, if you understand what I'm saying. So then they will feel to be becoming a part of the game, and then they will be probably more interested in doing the game. So a sales sheet is, of course, very important as well, because if you go to a place like Spiel in Essen or any other convention where you have meetings planned, which we'll be talking about some minutes from here, then make sure that you have a sales sheet, because probably it will be very quick. These people are very busy. You have to show them the premises of the game, the USPs in an instant. And so a sales sheet is very, very important. And a video would be very helpful, because then you don't even have to read the rules, and that's saving some time, right? So yeah, as I said, the selection, the Board Game Geek search is very, very important. It's very helpful for you. Do that. Also make sure that you know which territory you would like to have the game sold in. So of course you would like to have worldwide domination, but sometimes it's helpful to just cut up the world in terms of a territory. So this publisher in Europe would be good, and that one in America, and then those are the main countries, actually, the main territories. Then you would have 2 partners. And sometimes it's also good to have 1 partner, depending on who you can get, of course. But I normally do try to have separate partners for Europe and America, because they are having their own specialty. They know the marketing, how it's done in their territory. And LinkedIn search, I wrote that down because Board Game Geek is, of course, the first step. But then if you know which company you would like to show the game to, then of course you should try to reach out to these people. And LinkedIn can be your friend. Just try to message them. It's for me, it's better than just sending an email to some info at whatever company. Try to get to these people first. So as I said, the prototype, the artwork style it's pretty important, but make sure that you are not taking everything away from the publisher, because they would like to be part of the process. Packaging, for me, packaging, nowadays there's more and more companies that are feeling more, how do you say, So the environment is getting more important, right? So everybody is now trying to downsize the number of the number of cardboard, the percentage of cardboard going into a product. There's not that much big boxes anymore because it's very cost-worthy. And I also try to make sure that the packaging is used. So I did some games where I made some, for instance, there was an owl on the front of the box, and I made some cuts out of the box lid. So, and then underneath there was like the eyeballs. So when you pick up the game box from the shelf, it would be moving. So the kids would, wow, okay, that's nice. So the material usage is part of that. So make sure that you use the material as much as possible. If you do a sales sheet, then make sure that you have a short description of the concept. Make sure that you have the USPs, because basically everything has been invented already. Even if you think, yeah, man, I have this game and it's brilliant, it's unique, it's probably not, because there's so many concepts out there that you don't know of. So make sure that you that put on the sales sheet, this is what makes this game stand out. So this is why you should take it, and this is the reason why you would have to fit it. It would be fitting into your product line. When you do a video, I always use Animoto. Animoto is a free-to-use tool. You can just upload some slides, and they will generate a movie out of it. So whenever you press the button generate, it will be slightly different from the former time. So you can just say, okay, well, I like this version. And then, yeah, that's very helpful. It looks good, and it's costing nothing. So please use that. Make sure, of course, that in the video also you have the USP. And I always send it via retransfer. First reason is that, yeah, you can send big files. Second reason, that you can see if they downloaded the file, so you know that they got it. Because sometimes you have to chase these people. Okay, did you really see the presentation that I've sent? So the contact phase, if you reach out to a company, there's several options. Of course, if you know the people there, try to reach out by yourself. But if you don't know these people, there's a way of getting to know the company a bit by looking at their website. Mostly there's companies that have on their website the rules for sending in a game. So yeah, sometimes they are not even looking for games, but sometimes they would, of course. And then you can read there what you should do, how to reach out to them. Going to events, of course, is way better than just reaching out to the website. But of course, not everybody can do that. I'm very happy that I live in Amsterdam, and I'm 2.5 hours drive from Essen in Germany, which is hosting Spiel, which is a very, very important event. I wrote down webinars, because webinars is something that people forget. So there's, like now today, there are so many webinars nowadays that you can just enter and ask questions in the Q&A and kind of stand out to the rest, and then that way get to know people. And then it's more easy afterwards to reach out to them and connect. Sales sheet, of course, should have it ready when you contact people. If you look at the company website, then make sure that you see what kind of terms they have to send in a game. Sometimes I'm reading terms where I think, well, I might not send in games, because then it kind of feels like giving away the rights even before you know these people. So make sure that you know their terms, and if you think it's needed, then write an NDA, so a non-disclosure agreement, to make sure that you are not losing your rights. Talking about events, so Spiel I mentioned, there's others of course, but let's talk about Spiel. Yeah, you can just run around like crazy, because there's so many people there, and go to front desks if you don't know a company, don't know the people of the company, and make sure that you ask the right people if they're interested in seeing your game, because there's a lot of people there that don't even work for the company, and then they will say, yeah, of course, here's hopefully you will get a card of the right person, but don't pitch your game to the wrong person. That's the biggest lesson. For me, if I go to Essen, I normally go 3 days, and I have about 54 meetings, so 18 per day. I really like that. So I'm always 2 minutes late because I'm running with a big red suitcase, but people recognize me. Timing is important, of course. I'm always a little bit late, half an hour here and then half an hour there, but I need to go to the other meeting, so I'm always late. But they know this. But for me, the most important people that I want to show a game to, I make sure that they are either at the first part of the game, the day, or the last part of the day. So if it's a game where I need to show it to people which I know will be late, I'm not gonna name any country, but there's specific countries that are normally a bit late. So if I know that, of course, then I would like to have that meeting at the end of the day. Because mostly that same country that I have in mind now, which I'm not going to say, they would also be interested in having a little wine and a dinner afterwards. And that's also sometimes, of course, helpful if you want to sell something. So timing is everything. Make sure that you are on time, of course. Webinars, like I said, make notes, ask the right questions, and reach out to these people later. Sales sheet, I already talked about a little bit, but let me go through one more thing. So make sure that you have a confirmation of receipt. So if you try to reach out to people and send them a sales sheet, make sure that you ask for a confirmation of receipt. So you can later say, yes, I have sent you this, and you reach out to me again, so I know that you saw it. Otherwise, they can say, I don't know. Did you send something? The presentation itself. So be on time, of course. The location is important. So if you have a table like this, but you want to show a game like that, it's not going to be doable. So make it personal. I wrote that down because, just be yourself. There's many people that do have a first game that they want to show, and it's their baby, but they are presenting it in such a way that the company sees that they practiced the speech so much. That's not good. So just try to be relaxed and just not practice the speech that you want to say to this company that much. Timing, I said early versus late, and check if these people are there, because, running around like myself, sometimes I'm a little bit late, but also sometimes the other people are late or not there, so maybe check first if they're really going to be there before you enter the place. A location, so like I said, you need the space for a game, then make sure that you have the space. Sometimes it's even going to be the case that you are asked to go to, I don't know, sit down somewhere on the stairs because they don't have a booth. And especially in Spiel, it's going to be a lot of noise. Sometimes it's not very good to pitch a game where there's many people watching over your shoulder. That happened. And then, make sure that you know where the location will be. Be yourself, I said. Follow up. Okay, the follow-up documents. Make sure that you have a good archive for yourself, that you know which company you showed what, and what the comments were that they gave. So you can reach out to that when you are in a later meeting with these same people. And then I wrote down a licensing deal, because of course that's what you hope to hear at the end. Yeah, so they would like to publish the game, then the licensing deal comes into place, and that's a whole different topic. I could speak about that some other time. But make sure that you get some help from people that did it before, because there are some elements that are very important. This is what I said. So yeah, the licensing deal, for instance, there's a few parts that I would like to emphasize. The rights granted, so which right do you give to these people, just for board games or also online games? Nowadays, that's mostly what is done. Companies would ask for the online rights as well. Make sure that you have the territory that you want inside this contract. Normally it's 3 years to 5 years. Make sure that you have a royalty, otherwise there's no money to be made, and that's on top of the advance. Mostly, well, and let me just not go into that direction because that's a different topic. And then I wrote down representation. So my company, Puzzles and Games, we signed deals for about 24 games now, and we published our own games since 6 years. But we also have become an agent for other people's games. So sometimes I meet people that say, okay, you know all these publishers, so maybe you can be presenting it to these people. So yeah, if you do have a game that you would like to present to a company and you think you could use some help, reach out to me. I can see if the game is interesting, and I can maybe already say, yes, I do have a few companies in mind that it would fit to. And then we can make a deal. For me, that's pretty much it. So please be my guest. And
Do we have questions?
questions?
Yes, Yannick?
How many games have you pitched?
Whew. So I have
Approximately.
yeah, you know this, I think. So I have an Excel sheet, which is by now, I think, about 6,000 lines long. That doesn't mean that I have 6,000 games, but I've been showing 6,000 times a game to a specific company. But of course, I do games which could fit more than one company. So I would show, I don't know, 10 companies the same game. But yes, I have been pretty productive in terms of coming up with concepts. So yeah, do the math. So it's 6,000. I signed deals for about 24. So there's going to be a lot of no's coming from publishers.
Yeah, that would have been my follow-up question.
Yeah, and but yeah, so make sure that you are having a thick skin, because yeah, of course, there's going to be a lot of no's. But yeah, just hang in there, and eventually it will happen. But that's also, the 6,000 lines is not only board games, it's also video games. And that's a whole different topic as well, because I think there's a lot of differences between the board game publishers and the online publishers. It's completely different worlds, if you ask me. So I'm still waiting for my first signature for an online game. So sometimes I think maybe I should just stick to board games. But yeah.
Yep. Okay. You said that it's important to be personal. So what's your personal take? What sells now? What's the current trend, maybe? Well, in your field, in your, like...
So, I mean, if you're in a pitch, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
what is the trend? Ooh, that's a nice question.
What are the designers looking for currently? What do you know that, okay, this is going to work? Or when you see a pitch, then you say, okay, this is going to be successful.
Well,
Your
I
personal
would have
feeling.
to guess this, actually, because, well, I'm a publisher myself, but I know exactly what I'm looking for. I'm only focusing on a specific type of game. But I think nowadays there's so many game concepts out there, especially with Kickstarter. There's more and more companies that would like to have a game ready enough to be produced, because there are so many people that are focusing on coming up with games, especially due to COVID. A lot of people have just thought, yeah, I had this idea a long time, but now I'm going to do it. So the more people that are focusing on trying to have a game out there, the bigger the chance that there's similar stuff coming. So that's always the case. You don't know, of course, what other people in the world are thinking of, but there's more people now thinking about games. So there's a higher chance that somebody else is maybe thinking in the same direction. So therefore, I think the publishers would like to have an easy process, meaning the game is already done. We don't have to do that much to the game, and we can just like print it tomorrow. That's not going to be the case, but yeah, as far as you can go with the game already, do it.
Thank you.
What is the average timeline for the games that you've pitched and that were signed? Just a second. No, I mean from the signing of the contract to the time when the game launches.
I think it was pre-COVID. Yeah, that changed a lot. So I think it was about 2 years. 2 years, because most of my games, as I mentioned, are not completely finished in the sense that the artwork is done. They can print it tomorrow. I leave it open for them to say, okay, this kind of artwork needs to go on top. But then sometimes they already know which kind of artist they would have in mind to make that happen. But sometimes they're still looking for a specific artist that they would like. And yeah, like I said, there's so many games coming, so also these artists are having a lot of work. So you're at the end of the line.
And how has COVID changed the life
for me?
For you?
Yeah. For me, I think I sold 8 times more games than pre-COVID, which was insane. But it also, I've been trying to focus on small. I do a lot of games in a very small box, like a normal card deck. So like a tuck box with 55 cards. So it's a standardized product, and that's because I'm very lucky that I've never been dealing with China, because we all know that this boat was blocking the Suez Canal, right? So there was a lot of stuff behind that, and therefore some games came later than expected. Of course, the shortage of cardboard is a very important part nowadays. So I know which factories have been dealing with this a long time ago already and got their hands on a lot of cardboard, because I used to produce in Poland, and they went from 6 to 8 weeks to 24 weeks delivery time, which is not doable for me because I do products which are having content about this year. So I would like to have the game out there this year. So I'm very happy that I found some people that could do it in a very, very short time, because it's such a standardized product. And I think that's where I can make the difference. So I actually hope that the game stores will be having nothing except for my games to sell soon. But yeah, probably that's not going to be the case. But so for me it changed a lot. I've been focusing more on publishing my own games instead of reaching out to companies, because I knew they didn't have the time to, they didn't have the people to test the games, because that was not doable due to COVID. So why try? And now it's opening up again, so it's going back to the old business as well. But still, focusing on selling my own games is has been huge during COVID.
Okay, I have one question. Now it's very popular to ask, what was your biggest mistake or what was your biggest success?
No, the biggest success was during COVID. So I made a deal with a company in Holland that focuses on Christmas gift boxes. So they invent like 10 lines per year, and so they said, your new game, we would like to do it in 5 different lines that we have. So the same content, but different tuck box. And so they sold 170,000 copies within 3 months last year. which was insane. And I just had to make sure that they had the stock to sell, which was already a big thing. But yeah, that was the biggest success so far. But it's small margins, by the way, so don't think that I'm a rich guy now. But
no, of course not.
no. And the biggest mistake, I think I would have to say, I'm not going to say any names, but there was a company that did a game for me, and you should in your contract you should try to make sure that you can check what they're doing, because for me it happened quite a few times that I was shown the design of the concept. So okay, so this is the final artwork. What do you think of it? And by the way, you cannot change it because tomorrow it will go to the printer. So okay, so yeah, well, it looks good, but is it a license? So it was really nice artwork, but I asked them, is it based on a specific TV show that I don't know because it was a company from another country? They said, no, we just had an artist make this. Okay, well, it looks good, but then my question is, why did you put a girl on the box? Because already half of the market, the boys, will not be interested in buying this game. So yeah, maybe you're right, they said. And then the title of the game, I'm not going to say the title because then you know the company, but I checked it in Google, and then I saw like how do I say this? So it was a newspaper from that country that had a specific part where you can ask your sexual questions, which was having the same title as this children's board game. So, okay, well, that's a funny way of doing marketing for a kids game. So, yeah, they told me, okay, shit, we forgot to check that. And the biggest mistake was the pricing. So afterwards, I went to another company within another country, and they did the same game, different art, but half of the price. And people are not crazy. So I took away the rights pretty as soon as possible because I thought, nah, this is not going to work. So that was not my mistake, but it was somebody else's mistake. But I learned from it because I think I should be more on top of things during the process.
Okay, thank you, Dan, very much for this interesting presentation.
You're welcome.
Yeah, of course. We are waiting for him masterclass.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for his masterclass already for years. And here is a small present from us. And for those who was not able to attend yesterday, just a small introduction. You saw?
I saw it from other speakers.
Ah, you saw it?
Oh, no, this is different.
No. These are three things Latvia is famous for. One is honey.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
One is chocolate.
Oh, well.
And then comes the big secret of Latvia.
Yeah,
It's a black balsam.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for your interesting presentation. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.